We're going to kick it off this way tonight. Tonight on The Factor Uncensored, we take a look at the controversial angry black woman theory. When women are portrayed as loud, aggressive, irrational, disrespectful, and quick to resort to physical violence. We got this topic from a provocative YouTube channel and a woman who's right here in Houston, and she's talking to us tonight after this. Naysayers would argue it's impossible for black women not to be angry.
You're not going to grab on me like that, no.
Considering the generations of oppression, discrimination, and degradation they've had to endure, no one bats an eyelash if white men or white women get angry. But if a black woman raises her voice or pushes back, she's automatically labeled sassy or angry. Whether it's Serena Williams' emotional challenge of a call at the U.S. Open,
you don't intimidate us, you don't scare us,
or Congresswoman Maxine Waters challenging the Trump administration's policies, or the reality show participant going off on her castmates. Black women are many times seen as not passionate, but unreasonable and unruly. On Friday, Texas State Representative Garnett Coleman will hold a hearing on the newly released cell phone video of the arrest of Sandra Bland, who died in a Waller County jail after a routine traffic stop escalated. One woman believes Bland would still be alive if she had not displayed what she calls the stereotypical black female behavior.
He walked up there without any aggression, and he addressed her as ma'am. He addressed her as ma'am, okay? So that's respect given already. Step number one. Give respect, you get respect. The black female typically doesn't believe that she has to give anybody respect, even if a person is respecting her. What do I mean? A male can open the door for her, she'll walk through and won't even say thank you, okay, and have an attitude. Somebody can give her a compliment and she'll act like she's entitled to that compliment. So this is the typical behavior of the black female. This is nothing just to do with the cop. This is the black female's behavior.
Wow, I'm sweating already. Sweating already. Joining us here on The Factor Uncensored to talk about this is Princella Carr. Princella Carr, the one you just saw in that video, who just we heard from in the video where we got the idea for this topic. Also attorney and activist Adia Evangelista, realtor Mish Guillory, and author and journalist Rashawn Tate. So, I'm sure everyone won't agree with you, but why did you decide to make that videotape? And it took some courage to do that and put that out there, especially with Sandra Bland, who's now seen as a martyr.
Right. Well, I just kind of got a little bit irritated with the narrative that's being put out, because when I see that video, I see that a lot of people are skipping over a lot of details to create the reality that they want in their mind.
And we're talking about the Sandra Bland case and the suicide.
Yes, yes, indeed. So when the new video came out with the cell phone footage, I looked at it and I said, this is not new information. This is actually the same exact video that was produced the first time. And so what I wanted to show is, if we change how we operate, if we make better decisions, or make different decisions, different outcomes are more likely to occur. No, you can't always stop things from happening to you, but you can reduce the likelihood of things happening to you if you make the proper decisions in the proper situations.
And you also examined several other cases in your original YouTube video, videos that we can't show because it's kind of rough, but right. you say this is almost a part of regular behavior for black females. Do you mean some black females or all black females?
Not all, but a big majority of black females, because one of the things that it takes to brainwash a nation, the first step is demoralization, and that takes about 15 to 20 years. So what we're looking at is a new generation of people with a different attitude, and the majority of this new generation is that. Unfortunately.
And how would you describe that behavior?
I would describe it as unruly. More, the term that I typically use is savage behavior, very savage-like, animalistic type behavior. That's what I see it as.
And what kind of pushback, if any, have you received online or from your YouTube channel?
Surprisingly enough, the overwhelming majority actually agree on the YouTube channel. I have gotten a little pushback, of course, from a population of people who call themselves pro-black, because they actually like to see things through the filters of victimization. They want to be victims. So what they're going to do is find information that allows them to play the victim. We have to start taking personal accountability and start to look or do some self-reflecting on how we behave in certain situations, because whatever we do, we can either cause bad things to happen to us, or we can switch or change the narrative and allow better things to happen to us.
And in the video, you called that cause and effect.
Cause and effect, yes.
And you said in Sandra Bland's case, if she would have just complied with the officer,
oh, absolutely,
she'd be alive today.
Absolutely. I know for a fact she would have. Because if you look, there was a video that was never shown. The cop just pulled somebody over 2 seconds, literally like 2 seconds before he pulled her over. He let that person go with a warning. He had the same demeanor, he had the same attitude, and he let that person go with a warning. He pulls up behind her, and immediately she goes into the filters of her beliefs with all of the stuff that she was programming in her head on social media, and she goes off on this cop. Even while he's trying to be respectful to her, he asked her nicely, can you please put out the cigarette if you don't mind? Why I gotta put out my cigarette? This your job. You know, that kind of, you know, I'm like, okay, now you don't get to determine the effects of the cause. You don't get to determine the consequences of your behavior. And she just kept ramping it up, and now I have to ask you to step out of the car. You don't want to step out. He told her 9 times. 9 times. 5 times before he actually reached in to pull her out. He said, I'm going to have to take you out of the car if you don't get out. By the 6th time, he went to grab her. Once he went to grab her, she kicked him. But not only did she kick him, she said, let's do this. I don't know a victim who is going to beg for confrontation, who's going to ask for confrontation.
Let's bring some of our other guests in here. Isiah, you heard that. You've seen the video. I sent you the video last week so you can review it. Your thoughts about this so-called savage behavior with black females and belligerent, and go on.
Well, to describe us as savage and belligerent, you know, we're feeding into the propaganda that has been set for us for so long. Now, we talk about a new generation, but this did not occur in this generation. This has been systematically set up for us as black women to be betrayed. Ever since slavery, we're the aggressors, we're the over-sexualized women, we're the ones who don't want to submit to authority. We, you know, with the media, you have the sapphire character that, you know, portrays or has the archetype of this angry black woman. And, you know, with the reality shows, we see that ever so often. So to categorize black women as just being angry, and then to take someone we know that had mental health issues, Sandra Bland, when she checked in, she checked the box that she had mental health issues. Then to disregard that and just, you know, say that she, you know, just a generalized, broad statement that black women are just angry and we don't submit to authority, I think that's, you know, as sister, and, you know, we can have intelligent dialogue, but that's damaging, that's damning, and it doesn't really get at the root of the problem, because obviously black women are suffering from, you know, the inequalities, the biases, and, you know, we do have a right to be angry. And so it's just a method to invalidate us, to make us less, and to, you know, systematically continue to oppress us.
Let's bring Rochelle to take your thoughts.
I'm going to lower my voice and talk even keel so you don't think I'm being angry. Sis, with all due respect, when I watched this, I kept going, she's just trying to get some likes. She can't possibly believe this. I'm wondering about your data, your focus group, because as you talked and you described black women over and over, I kept going, I'm in a sorority, I'm in Jack and Jill, I'm in all these organizations, and I don't know anybody like that you're talking about. I know hundreds of black women, and I don't know anybody you described, and it feels like anybody can pull videos off the internet. They can go to World Star and support any case they have. And so it feels like that's what happened. You took some of the worst videos off of World Star to validate an incorrect thought process.
All right, Mitch, let's bring you in really quick before we take a break, because we're going to come back and finish this discussion.
I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't ready for it. And it took me several days to literally get through it, because when I knew what it was about and who it was about, I didn't want to hear it. I finally did watch it, and I watched it to the end. And I agree with Rashonda. There are so many black women that I know, self included, who will not go there when something arises. If you know me, and you know me on social media versus me in person, I've been in situations where I want to go off and have every right to go off, but I won't. I will hold it off to myself, and I may go off in one of my infamous rants on a social media platform, but I won't do that in public. So I didn't even want to see it because I didn't like the generalization.